Hello and welcome back to Champions and Beyond. Now this video is going to be something a little bit different. I'm going to do 4 quick overviews of some small box games that I have. Now the reason I'm doing this video is there's been a brand new board game group being set up in the local area. And I went along last week. I managed to meet Tim, the guy that's organising it, and I got chatting to him and realised that a lot of the people that have shown interest in the group are not board gamers in general, or don't know a lot about what is out there and available within the hobby nowadays. We all know the people that think board games are just Monopoly, and this group is trying to show people that there is a lot more out there that people can get to the table nowadays. So I'm going this week and I am taking these 4 games. The reason being they're all gateway games. So they're easy to learn, they're easy to teach. A lot of them are kind of filler size, so they're not games that are going to outstay their welcome on the table, and hopefully they can just show off a range of mechanics and styles of game that there are out there. So as I said, I went last week. I will just quickly say we played a couple of games of Hive, which is actually something I've never played before. Don't think it's the sort of game that my partner would enjoy, and as it is primarily a 2-player game, it's probably not something I'm going to add to the collection. But I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was quite strategic, it was quite tactical, and games like Onitama and all that, other abstract games, really hit a spot for me. So I would definitely play it again if somebody bought it out. We then played Ticket to Ride Europe, which is obviously quite a big game. We had 3 people, I believe it was, come across and ask us about the game. I think maybe the Europe one was a little bit intimidating for people. It has got quite a table presence, despite it being a fantastic gateway game. So the first game that I am going to take this week is going to be the biggest box of them, and that's Ticket to Ride New York. Now, Ticket to Ride New York has everything that the big box game of Ticket to Ride has. It has all the same mechanics on a much smaller scale. Now, it is 2 to 4 players and it is around about 15 to 30 minutes long. So when we open it up, you get a much smaller map, which, rather than covering a full continent, it just covers the map of New York City. The rulebook, you have all the cards you need. You do have a score pad, although it's fairly easy to score it, so there's no need to really go and use those, I don't think. A few spares, and then you have the 4 colours. Now, one of the big differences are you don't have trains with Ticket to Ride New York. You have little taxi cars. And for anybody that knows Ticket to Ride, you will know this game. It has much fewer cars for when you're working out end game, hence why it's a much shorter game. And I'm primarily bringing this because I believe, as far as I'm aware, Tim isn't bringing the big copy of Ticket to Ride. But you did post up some photos in the WhatsApp group, and I'm bringing this along so that if anybody ends up turning up, missed last week, and wants to try out the mechanics and see how Ticket to Ride works, we can do it with this in a much smaller space of time. Now, for anybody that doesn't know Ticket to Ride, you will draft cards from a communal pool of cards, and your aim is to pay those cards in and place your own pieces on routes between points on the map, and the overall goal is to connect 2 points on the map as seen in the destination cards. On your destination tickets, it will have a number on it, which is a score that you will receive if you complete the destination ticket, the point from A to B. If you don't complete that within the game, then you score minus points at the end of the game. The other way you score points is by placing your pieces down between 2 points on a map and paying the cards that you've drafted, and that will score you points for claiming that route. The New York one does have a slight change with the endgame scoring, and it will have several different locations on the map that are points of interest within New York, and if you can connect any part of your routes that you're doing to one of these points of interest, then you'll score a bonus point at the end of the game. So, very solid little game. Ticket to Ride, I think, is a fantastic entry-level game anyway, but that is the first pick that I'm going to be taking. Now, the second game I'm going to be taking is a very small box. It's Bandido. Bandido is a cooperative game. It is for 1 to 4 players, and it can play in anywhere from 5 minutes to, say, about 25 minutes if you've got a lot of players and you're really thinking about things. Very simple little game, just a little tiny box. So within the box you get a starting tile which has the bandit in jail, and he's dug 5 exits. If you want to play on a harder mode, you can flip it over and you get a 6th exit, and your aim is to use a load of these cards, and you're going to work out how he's dug his tunnels. Now, you have 3 cards in your hand at any one point, and your aim is to basically block off certain exits. Now, these are automatically block offs. You could have pieces that come out this way. You could have this piece going down here, and at this point in a game there would still be 1, 2, 3 possible exits that the bandit's going on. After every turn, once you've played 1 card, you will replace it with the top card of a deck. So you always have 3 cards in your hand until the deck starts to deplete. And all players win if all players take it in turns, first of all, to go around the table to place a new piece down and try and block off all of the exits. All players win if every exit gets blocked off. So, for example, if everything went to plan and the cards came out like this, the players would win the game because every single exit has been blocked off. If you go through the entire deck and you haven't managed to block off any exits, which can happen, this can become a massive table hog. As you can see, there are a lot of cards. But if you haven't managed to block off every exit once all the cards are down, then the players lose and the bandit has escaped. So I think the lowest amount of cards that you actually need is 3 to finish the game, which is why I say it can be over almost as soon as it started. But very fun little game. My pick for a cooperative game to show people that, you know, not everything has to be uber competitive when you're playing games. Okay, so game 3 that I'm going to take is Love Letter. Now, Love Letter is a social deduction game or a hidden role game. For this version is for 2 to 4 players. Again, very small box, and you get some little cubes which are your scoring markers, and a deck of cards, some player aids. And the idea behind Love Letter is you will always have a role, which every card has a set of rolls on them. You will have a roll face down in front of you while you're in the game, and on your turn you will take a second card from the deck and you will look at your 2 cards, and both of them have an ability on them, and you will try and use your card's ability to manipulate another player, whether or not that is the Prince, which makes another player discard their hand, the Guard, which will allow you to essentially guess what somebody else has in their hand. The idea is that if you can guess what everyone else has got and manage to eliminate them in different ways, then providing you are the final one left in the round, you will get a point or a cube. And once you reach a certain number of cubes, based on how many players are in the game, is how many points you need. Once you've reached that amount, then you win the game, and it's as simple as that. So a little bit of bluffing. It's a game based very much on honesty. You have to be honest. If somebody says, so say I have the Prince in front of me and somebody across the table goes, with a Guard and says, are you the Prince? Then yes, I am, and I'm eliminated. So that is Love Letter. Okay, so the final game that I'm taking is Sushi Go. So Sushi Go is a drafting game for 2 to 5 players. It plays over 3 rounds. You take the score from each of the 3 rounds, and that will give you a total score at the end of the game. The way it works is you'll get a hand of cards, which will be determined by the number of players. And on your turn, you will look at what you've got in your hand. You will decide which card you want to keep. Place it face down in front of you. Once everybody has done that, everyone passes their cards to either the left or the right. I'll have to double check that one, but you pass your cards on. You get your cards from the next player along in the line, and you then get to draft another card once everyone's passed on. So you will keep doing this until every card has come out and you have a certain amount of cards in front of you. There are no more being passed on. You then total up the scores that you receive from your cards that you've drafted and reset, move on to the second and then the third round. So very simple drafting game. Again, plays in around about 30 minutes. But Sushi Go. So, as I said, these are the 4 that I will be taking. If you have followed this link from the Discord, then hopefully I'll see some of you there. If you are just finding this through my channel and you want any more information on any of these games, then please leave a comment in the description below and I can see about doing some more content for any of them if there's interest. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, happy gaming.